Welcome. My name is John Hendy. I'm the developer and creator of Relational Evangelism, using It's All About Relationship, an evangelism tool. And we're going to be together for the many coming hours. I'm going to introduce you to relational evangelism, explain to you what it is, show you how to use it, and hopefully this will get you down the path of having another tool to add to your Christian life to help you share the gospel with many more people and make many more disciples. This is the tool we're going to introduce to you how to use. It's titled, It's All About Relationships. So there's 4 lessons, and we're going to show you how to use these lessons and how they can help you make many more disciples during your lifetime and possibly train other people to use it also. I want to share a little bit with you about the fact that relational evangelism is becoming a global happening. We've been taking the training the last few years around the world. And here's some of the pictures of some of the groups who've been training. We've taken the training to Kenya, Uganda, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Zimbabwe. And you can see these groups, when we take it to these groups, their normal response is, please keep coming. We've never gotten anything like this. And we'll tell them, we'll try to come back one more time if you actually start using it. And we're pleased to know that they do. And we'll come back and work with you. And then after that, it's up to you. And that's part of this video training too. We will leave this with every place we go and do the training live so they can have this to follow up on. It's just been a thrill. Jim Phillips has taken the training into Ukraine and into Poland with a group of gypsies. We've taken the training into many different places, South America, in Chile, in Peru, and Ecuador, and Mexico. I've taken it into the Philippines a number of times, and we hope to expand it from there. It was very exciting when we did the training with this first group on the left in Nigeria. Jackson Endicek in the yellow shirt to the right was the one who took me there. After myself and my friend Steve left there, after we'd done the training, Jackson stayed there for a while. And I found out much later that 28 of these pastors from this group established and formed a national legal organization recognized legally called the Relational Evangelism Movement of Nigeria. Their plan and their goal is to make relational evangelism something that they develop and use in their country. They can develop teams to start taking it to other countries and say, here's how we got this going, here's how we've used this, here's how we encourage you to use it. In 2019, we took the training for the first time to Cairo, Egypt. We were at a conference center outside of the city, and we trained 169 leaders from Egypt, and some came down from Sudan. It was a wonderful experience, and our plan is to go back and do some significant more training in Egypt, which will hopefully then become our channel out into the 1040 window. We have the materials in Arabic and many other languages. After Egypt, we went down to India and did the training in Chennai, India, a city of 20 million, the same as Cairo. And we did the training in a couple different places there, well received. There was one pastor, every time we had a break, I'll never forget him, as I walked by him to go to the back for something, he would just stop me and look at me and say, amazing, amazing. And that's sort of the response we get in different ways from a lot of people. They're just so grateful for this training, and they find something they can use. This is a picture of me with Robert. They're known as Bert. He's a leader in the church of the Philippine Missionary Fellowship. He came to the training we did with a group of youth in the Philippines. He was just excited about this, and he's opened the door up for us to go back and start training leaders all over the Philippines from this fellowship. My particular goal over the next 3 years of my life is to focus on Nigeria and Ethiopia and Egypt, India, and the Philippines myself. But we want you and others to take it to the far ends of the earth. this training program has been endorsed by a number of well-known Christian leaders around the world. The first one I want to mention is Lauren Cunningham. Lauren Cunningham is the founder and transitioning president of YWAM, Youth with a Mission. They have like 600 training centers around the world. They have 40,000 young adults working in missions around the world. And when he saw the materials, he studied the materials, and he came back and he said, there's just one word I want to recommend you change out of everything in there. And we have this throne illustration where we have me on the throne and God on the throne. And the idea is I need to get off the throne, put God on the throne. He said, change the word God to Jesus, because Muslims won't have a problem surrendering their life to God, but they need to realize they're surrendering their life to Jesus. That changes the picture. And then he asked us right after that, can you get this translated into 130 languages so we can use this in all the lands we're working with? Well, so a good friend of mine spent some time with Luis Palau and introduced the material to him, showed the material, and Luis Palau, who's an international evangelist with his sons involved in a global ministry, he said, this is the best evangelism material I've seen since Bill Bright came out with his 4 spiritual laws, like 40 years ago. And 3 others. On the left-hand side, the man with the beard and the yellowish shirt, his name is Zode. Zode is the founding pastor of the Addis Ababa Church in Ethiopia, in the city of Addis Ababa. That's the name of the church, the Addis Ababa Church. That's what they call it. He was a physicist until he was 30. At the age of 30, God called him into the ministry, and he's 60 now. He travels the world. He's probably the closest thing I personally have met or known to the Apostle Paul. He works with bush tribes. He plants churches in England and Australia and Africa. And he sat in the training, and after the training in 2 small meetings with smaller groups of people, he said to them, this is the time, this is the place, this is the tool. We need to start using this in our ministries to reach more people. And since he first said that, he's also invited me to go and do the training in England and Australia and other places where he's working. The man in the middle, Houseman, he's a pastor, associate pastor, and he's an educator. And we did the training in his city, a large city, a university city. And afterwards he came up and he said, this is the missing link in our ministry. And they had a very successful ministry in this town, in their congregation. And then Raymond to the right. Raymond is a pastor in the Full Gospel Mission Church. He is over 120 other pastors in his larger region. He came up after the first day of the training we did, and he said, John, I've been looking for this material for 21 years. After the second day of training, he came up and said, John, I got to tell you something, what this is going to mean to us. It's as if we were halfway across the Atlantic from Africa on our way to North America, and we were in an old rigging ship, and we were tired and battling storms, and we're hungry, and then somebody comes alongside us and says, hey, if you'd like, we'll take you the rest of the way in our jet. So that's what this is going to mean to us. It's going to speed our ministries up. We're going to be much more effective. Then Jackson Indachek, I met him. He's from Cameroon. He lives in Kona, Hawaii. He works with YWAM. He travels the globe. He's an evangelist. And when he first saw the material and an introduction to it, he hadn't even been through the training. He said, John, this material is profoundly unique. And I'd never heard anybody put it that way before, but the more I thought about it, I realized some of the insights he had to it. And so soon after that, he told me one day, John, he said, the Holy Spirit has told me we need to train 10,000 trainers in this. And then when I went with him to Cameroon, we were standing in front of many of the leaders, national Christian leaders in Cameroon, and he said, we need to train 100,000 trainers in this here in our country, 10,000 in every one of our states. And then later, after that trip, he came back to me and said, John, the Holy Spirit's told me we need to train 1 million trainers on this in the 6 continents and the islands. And he'll be working on that long after my life is over, I'm confident.